Hey there, folks, and welcome to the 5-color big mana deck. You want to see how the deck fares? Gameplay is linked down in the description. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. We do a new deck every single week with gameplay videos throughout the week. And with that, let's get to the deck tech. Okay, simple premise of the deck. I did this. I went filters, all colors, and then over here, 6+. I started there. This is a fun deck. It's an entirely fun deck. Just crazy enough to work. That kind of stuff. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm not going to actually read out the card. I'm just going to kind of explain my thoughts of why the card should belong. And with that, it'll probably pick up the pace a little bit. I mean, if you listen by a podcast, then maybe you listen to me in the background, that might not help, but let me know about that, or if you prefer it this way. So we're going to possibly roll through them a little faster that way, and not bore you as much. Just an experiment. So we're starting with 3 copies of Blessed Alliance, and with this, I find early aggro you can cover, big stuff later, that kind of thing, untap some creatures if it becomes relevant, helpful. Blessed Alliance has multiple modes, useful in multiple ways, so if you're against a burn deck, life is good, that kind of thing. I find it a very catch-all scenario card, where something's relevant, sometimes, all the time, whatever. There's always something relevant about the card. So I find that they're quite helpful. And then we've got one Gideon's Reproach here, just kind of as an aggro answer. Just you face off against red deck wins, then you have something to take out there. Well, let's say you're on the draw. Lathnu Hellion comes down. Your life total is not a resource versus burn. Kill that thing. That kind of thing. And then for Gift of Paradise, I had a comment where they didn't like Gift of Paradise. I love Gift of Paradise. Again, answer to burn, aggro, really fast early stuff where you gain the life. And then all of a sudden you have 2 mana for whatever spell you want that's, well, I mean, if you're on 3, you cast it, you play a land. The next turn you're at 5, and you have 2 mana of any color to cast many, many, many things. What does that put us in the bracket for? Board wipes! All board wipes! So we got 1 Kozilek's Return. We have Eldrazi, so both modes are very relevant here. Catch the early stuff, catch tokens, catch whatever you want. It's great for stuff, but sometimes it's niche and doesn't catch everything. Can it slow down aggro? Yeah, they got one bigger guy that's a little too tough and a couple smaller guys, or even one smaller guy, and you just got to stem the bleeding while you get land drops out. Because that's really all this deck is about, get the land drops out. Then 2 copies of Radiant Flames. Now, yeah, this is very easily cast for 3. Very easily cast. That is, unless you don't get your red in your first 3 mana, which I've kind of weighed just slightly heavier in that form. So it's possible, but I mean, you can gift or you can Radiant Flames depending, or Kozilek's Return, or Reproach, or Blessed Alliance to make sure that you get to that point. So there's a lot of up to turn 3 stuff that's available to keep going and get into the next stuff. From Beyond, ramp card. Really it is. It's a ramp card, and it's an immediate target because people know Ulamog's coming. Oh, he's coming. It's chump blockers if you need chump blockers. It's ramp if you need ramp. So it's good that way, and it's just this passive card that goes, and yeah, it's fine. It helps with it. Moving on, we have 2 copies of Languish, and yet another board wipe. That's what it's about. Early game, just nuke the board. Destroy everything early in the game. Just everything. You gotta survive, so you can get to the big plays. And then Planar Outburst is the next card. Like I said, you ramp to 5 with 2 mana of any color. Double white looks good. You notice the double black. It goes on, and you can see even further. It's a lot of double colors, so Gift of Paradise, very good for that purpose here. So, Awaken, very relevant. You get into the big upper tiers, and this is your payoff card for a while. Well, it's not really a payoff card, but it's something. Yeah, sure, why not? It's more just clean the board up. Then the 6 drops are the ones that attempt to kind of turn the corner a little bit. And you've got Limvala, the Preserver, so 1 copy. And this gains you life if you didn't get a board wipe by some chance that you didn't get any of those board wipes. Then Limvala will at least get you an extra token versus creature decks. So the extra life, the token, just block them for a turn. Noxious Gearhulk, much similar in that fashion. You get your menace guy, which you can start attacking with potentially. If you get your, you get your board wipe, you get into turn 6. You drop this guy for the next guy. And suddenly you got this guy, which they're probably going to immediately kill with whatever removal they have, which is, it's fine, whatever. You got the removal out of their hand, you got the creature off the field, that kind of thing. And you gained life to get yourself to stay in the game. So, yeah, it's good that way. And then we have Sire of Stagnation, which, if the stars align with Great Ramp and land drops, it's run 26 lands in about 1 of 3 games I get mana screwed. I can't figure out why, but hey, this deck defies math in so many games. So, with Sire of Stagnation, yeah, it's a good way to, you're at 6 mana. Let's start finding our finishers at this point in time. Let's start getting to our lands, that kind of thing. So if you ramped perfectly, maybe you got them on the play with some ramp and they just kind of have to play that extra land. They're not necessarily ramp. Maybe they're mid-range. Sire Stagnation, pretty good to say, okay, you have to deal with Sire before you play a land, or play a land in order to cast the thing that deals with Sire. Either way, it gets us some cards and puts a kind of decision in their path. Then, of course, we have Oblivion Sower for just more ramp. And, yeah, we'll just steal their lands. It helps. Just steal their lands as a 6-drop. It's just, okay, we're just going to go straight to the next turn and do even bigger plays, that kind of thing. Nissa's Renewal as another 6-drop, just simply ramping you to the next tier of stuff. It's saying, screw 6-drops, we're going straight to 9. And, keeping the life gain going, just so that you're still in the game and can fairly ignore whatever they're doing. So, yeah. Then we got Chandra Flamecaller as another 6-mana payoff. Can board wipe on her own if that's a problem. Maybe your hand, you didn't get the payoff card, so you can 0 to get a new hand and get some payoff cards. Chandra's the payoff card, but, you got flooded. Let's say you got a flooded game and you're just going land. I went manually to turn 6 and got this, or something like that. And I still got lands all the way to Ulamog in my hand. Discard that stuff. So then you got the elemental tokens, very good for attempting to close out a game or put some pressure on them at the very least, get the life total down. And then Sauron is another 6-drop. He can gain you life if you'd like. If you're in a rough spot, he can definitely gain you the life. But his +1 with mana in this deck, yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. Just, you tick off the top and just watch their life total go, and just totally sink. Johnny is one that kind of furthers the game plan as well. His plus ability will just get you some really top-end permanents, hopefully. Just really big stuff. Maybe he'll get you some of these folks over here to keep the game going. And some of the stuff over here to keep the game going. And I mean, you can minus them if you want, but remember, you got a ton of board wipes. You're probably plussing to try and finish the game out at this point in time. So yeah, pretty good for that. He's card advantage. I mean, there's your card advantage, guys, by a long shot. And I mean, Chandra is also a situation for that as well. I mean, she technically gives you +1 card if you use her ability. So I mean, it's possible. I wouldn't say I haven't used it. And then we got the Kool-Aid Man, Omnath, Locus of Rage. So, he's big. There's elementals in the deck, by the way. Chandra elementals. It's relevant. Planar Outburst elementals. And I think that's where the boat ends. But there's situations like, well, I Planar Outburst with Awaken. I'm going to follow up with Omnath, and I'm going to attack with my land, and like maybe they got a Blessed Alliance or something like that in their hand. Remember, they haven't used much of their creature removal at all, so that's entirely possible if they're running white. And so you swing in, and then at least you get the bolt off if they do a Blessed Alliance. And then, you know, some decreased stuff, and you got something out of it. And then we got Cruel Reality, which says, I win if you don't deal with me. It slowly will pick them away. Like, that's what the big mana stuff's about. It's just really put down something that says, deal with me now or you lose. As you may notice. It really starts setting the game out. And so, with Cruel Reality, it's an answer to Planeswalkers if we ramp well. We don't have answers to Planeswalkers. We don't have answers to enchantments. We have big stuff to just do bigger answers than their answers. Then we got Sandworm Convergence, 2 copies. And this thing at least creates a creature presence in on your side of the board. Also with, you know, some flyers that are problematic that might get in the way. We got covered. So absolutely, yeah, big token creatures that just keep coming back. Just add some inevitability to the game where you will eventually just, you know, you'll win with them eventually. And another ramp card to give us 7 ramp cards at turn 3. And more later down the road. Spring to Mind. So Springside, pretty good for getting at least a land of any color you need. And then Mind, easily cast. Easily. So you're looking for your payoffs at the end. You board wipe, you look for your payoffs while they recover. That kind of thing. So, yeah, Mind is helpful as a card draw, along with all the other 6-drop stuff is just pure card advantage in some way. And life gain. But card advantage, life gain, turn 6 play, and Spring to Mind is no different in that regards. And then Ulamog's Ceaseless Hunger, full 10 mana. Is that a problem? No, usually by the time you get them, you can cast them. Or you're very close. It's not a big deal. And I found that Ulamog is just another creature in this deck, honestly. He's cool to get, and he might swing a game, but is it necessary? I think his exile is the most relevant thing in this deck. It's like, okay, I'll just deal with those problematic things that have been keeping me from winning the game, and I'll go in now with whatever I had on my board state. Ulamog's pretty good for that. Okay, so the mana base, it tends to come into play untapped, and usually, we have all the mana we need. So it's very basic in this regards. 2 plains, 2 islands, 2 swamp, 2 mountain, 4 forests, and then I went with any green source land so that we could always cast Spring, we could always cast Gift of Paradise. That will always get us into our off-color mana. So we got 1 Cinderglade, 1 Canopy Vista, so we can go either direction with that. So we have our Blessed Alliance mana here, and we have our Cinderglade, which offers our Radiant Flames mana in that direction. Now we got 2 Woodland Cemetery, 2 Rootbound Crag, 2 Hinterland Harbor, 2 Sun Petal Grove, and 4 Evolving Wilds to go get that initial forest. So that's all comes into play untapped. Or, I mean, you know, you could get your mountain for Radiant Flames if needed. It's possible. There's plenty of basic forest that you can also get one in your initial draw a good chunk of the time as well. So that's the deck. And it's absurd. It's crazy. It works. It doesn't work every time. Usually the Mana Screw games is when it doesn't work every time. But I mean, it works quite a bit. It's not going to win every game, but if you want to have fun with really big stuff and just go stupidly huge with the mana, this might be the deck for you. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.